In this part, we are going to learn about the Django interaction with DB. So DB means database. We are going to do some things with the database. First, we are going to create the database, and then how we can access the data, and then last one we will learn about query. So when you do with the Django, yeah, you can see this kind of files. I call this is the framework of the Django. At the first time, when you make the project, you need to start the project, and then you need to do setting. It means some of the Django application may be in the server with specific IP address. So you need to do the setting. Or you want to change the database. So it is also in setting. So we are going to look for this one. And after we finish with the settings, we will do migrate. So this is to create the user or group table, and create super user will be used to create the project admin. We can make an app. We call the application in Django as app. So using the start app, we can create that app. So we will also look that one. And after we create the app, we can do another setting. So what we are going to do today is we are going to make some table with models.py, and then we are going to assign some user in the admin, and then we will do the modification, model modification, and then again we will do migrate, which is to execute the modification in the Django server. So there are many steps here, so let's do one by one. Let's create a new project in your Django. Let me just make it name as a big project. It's up to you. You can change the name. So I will make a new project. When you want to create a project, you can just select Django. Just make it as big project. And then I will do just a custom environment with the Python in my computer. Maybe the setting is different with your computer. It's created. So if you already have the Django, you can create the project, and every files, the initial file will be in the project. So it sometimes. So you still remember we already learned those files. So those files are the initial file from this Django library. Now, let's go to the setting. Then let's go to the setting. We have the setting.py. If you look at this setting, so your Django will have this secret key. So my secret key will be different with your secret key. So every computer will have different secret key. So this is will be used in production. It means later on, if you want to connect between one Django and another Django, you can share the secret key. And debug is true. So it means don't run with debug turn on in production. And loud host means they want to figure out only one place or several places for the host. In this case, I will use localhost and I will use this IP address 127.0.0.1. It means if you have different hosts, for example, you want to use this computer or if you want to use the computer in this lab, there might be a specific IP address. Then you can change the IP address based on your current computer IP address. And when you run this Django, so everyone can access to your computer. So we are going to do something later with this install app. I mentioned to you about this part. So if your Django is the old Django means the Django 3.2.5. So there might be some errors if you use the current template. So the current template is like this one. If you go down, you can see this one, this part. Tiers. Tiers means the directories where you want to put your templates. In this case, base tier. You know, base tier. What is it? This is the base directory of your project. Django already set up the base tier as this one. It means if you make your project here, so this is your base directory. And then if this is your base directory, we just need to add templates. So in this case, these templates. And these directories or this folder templates will be the place for other files like HTML, CSS, JS, images, and so on. Next, selecting the database. For us, we're going to use the SQLite. This is the embedded database from Django. If you look at this database, you can see that this is the SQLite from Django, and the base directory or the name is in the base dir db.sqlite. Now you cannot see the SQLite here, so let's see later how can we add this one. So by default, the configuration use SQLite. If you wish to use another database, you need to install the appropriate database findings and change the following keys in the database default item to match your database connection setting. So there are some database that you can use. It means you can modify in this section. Language. So in the settings, we can also change the language. If you look at this section, language, it is based on the English US. But if you want to change to Korea, for example, you want to use Korean letter and Korea time and so on, so you can set up KO-KR. If you want to use the Chinese, you can use ZNCH for the simplified, and then ZNTW for the traditional Chinese, and so on. So there are so many language codes that you can use. So by the default, the configuration use English, and you can use Korean if you want. So if you wish to use another language, select the proper format of the language. Time zone. So the time zone has been set as UTC. So whenever you create any time stamp in this Django, it will be based on the UTC time. So in Korea, it is +9, and the UTC time you can get it the current time, which is 12 o'clock -9. That will be the UTC time. Or you can specify your area. Let's say Asia code. Then time will be according to this time zone. Or you can specify whether you are going to use the time zone or not. So if it is true, then you are going to use this time zone. If not, you can just set that as false. Now, for the first part, we can do the migrate. So migrate means you want to set up our environment so it will be ready for the production. We can go to the terminal. There's the terminal section in the Python. And then you can type Python -py migrate. And copy this. So you can see on the bottom part, we can see the terminal. So you can just click terminal. And you can copy and paste from the PowerPoint, or you can type Python -py migrate. So when it is migrated, then Django will automatically create some files. So some of the files, it is about the authentication, about the admin, and etc. So it is just the basic Django function. So you can use it later. And now let's create a user. So the user can be used for the admin. To do the administration process, we need to have the create the user. So let's make one super user. We call it super user because the user will have the role as admin, and the user can control everything in Django. Okay, I will go back to this terminal. So I would like to make the super user. Okay, if you see this one, username. So you can use any name. Because in my case, leave blank to use IME. So if I don't type anything, then the username will be IME. Let me just make it as user. Django requires email address because if there are some issues, let's say you forgot the password or some security issues, You can send it to your email. But because this is not that important Django, then I will just make an email. Okay? Just make abc@abc.com. So if you put an email, you need to have this app. So if you don't have this one, then it Django will reject. Okay? So just make any email for this one. And for the password, you can have your own password. Let me just use this one. Okay. I use the password of IME203. Just make it as a standard, because if there are some problems with your computer, yeah, I can access in your system with the same password. Yeah, this is just for the trial. I will use the same of IME203. Then if everything is fine, you can see that the super user created successfully. And today we are going to focus on one application. To create a new app, let's say I'm going to create a new app named FAQ. So FAQ is frequently asked questions. In order to make the app, you need to use the word start app. So I can do Python -py start app FAQ. So FAQ means the name of the app. I will do this one, and I will do in the template. So after you create this, you will see an app. Okay, sometimes we need to refresh. Now you can see there is one new folder, FAQ. If you make the app name FAQ, then it automatically creates FAQ folder. If you use different name, maybe if you want to make an app for member, then when you change member, then the name of the folder will be member. If you click this one, then you can see there are many files. So you can see the init. Init in Python means the constructor. So it is necessary to have this file, even though when you open it, it is blank. But yeah, this is the constructor in Python. And then there are some files automatically generated, like admin, apps, model, tests, and views. When you already finish with this app, you need to access the app automatically. So in this case, you can just use this setting. You can go to the setting and then go to the install apps. You can go to the install apps and then you can put the additional apps in this install. Now you can see that we have an app name, which is FAQ. And then this app will connect to the file name apps. This is the file name apps.py. And it will check the FAQ config. So if you look at this apps.py, you will see there is one class. This is the class of FAQ config. And it will make an auto field for any database that you create. In this case, the Django already set up with the big auto field for the app config. Now, how can I know this app name? Okay. So the standard app name will be the name of the app that you created. Dot apps. Apps is the file name, so it will be always the same. And this will be the name, and then followed by config. So if because I create FAQ, then the name is FAQ dot apps dot f with big FAQ config, like this. However, if you have a new app, let's say play, then the name will be play.apps.key with big ly config. So Django generate this file automatically with this format. So if you're not sure with the name, you can just go to the file, like I mentioned to you, go to the apps.py and then check what is the name generated by Django. Okay, so that's the first step whenever you do with the new project. I think you need to set up those things. Next is about the database. So in the database, there is one concept. We call it model, template, and V. So model or M stands for model. We call this the data access layer. The data access layer means this contains anything and everything about the data. How to access, how to validate, which behavior it has, and the relationship between the data. The template, we call it template, it is the presentation layer. The presentation layer means we want to see the something in the user's perspective, in the presentation related decision. So for example, how something should be displayed on a web page or other type of document. View is the business logic layer. The logic means something related to the logic to access the model and differs to appropriate template. So the format usually we call it this MVT. Sometimes we call it this is the MVT to indicate this is the model, view, and template. So every time you have the model, you will go into the view for any formatting or for any logic things, and then you can display to the presentation layer, or you can display in the HTML. If you need some input from the presentation layer, it will go to the view, and the view will check on the model. So that's why we already learned the view is using views.py. So the views.py, actually, this is the data formatting part or the backend. And then the template is the HTML. Whenever we have something in the views, we want to show it in the HTML using some tag defined in the URL. So today we are going to focus on this part because we already know how to develop the views, URLs, and HTML. Now, what we are going to make is, you are required to build a website to receive a question and find the possible answers for the question from the crowd. So you need to save all the questions and answers into the tables. And how will you do it? Okay, you already learned, at least from starting the project settings, and then you know the migrate, PHP user, start app, and do again on the settings. Now we will go to the next section, which is the model coding. At first, let's do the modeling. We want to create a model or table. In the folder FAQ, we have models.py. So let's open it. So the models.py is blank. We don't have anything. Now let's just use this models.py that I gave in the PowerPoint. Okay, we can replace. Good. Okay. Now let's look at this simple model. We're going to make the FAQ app, frequently asked question, with two classes. Two classes. Yeah, you can say two models, but it's two classes. The first is question, and the second is choice. So you know this thing. If you learn the database, I think you know the entity relationship diagram. We call this is ERD. So this is the ERD. There are two entities. The first is the entity of question, and the second is the entity for choice. And this relationship, we can have one, two, many. One data in the question can have many choices or many answers. In the entity question or in the table questions, we have, this is actually two. Okay, yeah, we have two. We have two attributes. The first attribute is the question text. I'm just making very simple. Usually for this question and answer, maybe you need to know who is the writer and etc. So let's just keep that up. I will just use only the question. And then when it is published. And then we have one question and there might be a lot of answers from people. So the question, there will be a question here that is not available. It is the question ID. So the ID here is the primary key. Okay, I put that here because when you create the database in Django, the ID will be generated automatically. And also this choice will have also the ID, and every ID is automatically generated. For this one question, we have FK. If you learn in the database, we will know about PK and FK. PK is primary key, and then FK is foreign key. So this question is connected to the question ID in the table question. So every question should have one in the choice, but there will be no choice that can be generated without question. So that's the meaning by the FK. We want to refer to the question. And then next is the choice text. It is the answer. And then let's give a vote. It means if the question and if the answer is good, people can recommend. So if there are many votes, then the answer is good. If the vote is zero, then this may be not good or not many people believe in that answer. And I would like to introduce you with one attribute, name is URL. So we can put URL as a value in this entity. Now you can see this one, chart field, date time field. So chart field, integer field, and URL field. So what are they? So they are the data type definition. Okay. The data type. What does it mean by the data type? So the data type means we have a special type for the value in that attribute. If the value will be character, so we specify the character field. If the value is date time, then we need to specify date time data type, date time field. If the value is integer, then we can specify integer field. If the data type is URL, we can use URL. So there's many others data type. I cannot explain one by one. So for example, if you, okay, I don't put this one here. So if you want to check models, then you can see, we can use date time field, you can use chart field, URL field. Okay. You can use auto field, it means automatic number generation. You can use the big auto field, big integer field, binary field, Boolean field, and many others. Okay, so you can check by yourself. So if your data can be generated with their definition, then we can use it. Or if you need more things, maybe you can just specify character. Because character is the general data type. For example, the email field, it means you can only type email address. Okay, so this is to make the definition about this chart field, date time, and message field. Some field classes have required argument. For example, the chart field. Chart field requires that you give it a maximum length. So that is used not only in the database schema, but in the validation. So OFID can also have various optional arguments. So in this case, we have set the default value puts to 0. So let's say this one, child field maximum length 200. Then there should be no more than 200 characters. And then if you can see this the time field did publish. So this is the attribute name method that we want to show. And then for the foreign key, we can see that it is connected to the question. So the question means the question class. And then on delete, we will use the cascade. If we delete this one, it will not affect to the deletion. So the deletion here will not give any impact on this one. So the choice text, we have the maximum length, and then the integer field, we have default equals to 0. So whenever we create a value or a new record, then this quotes will start from 0. And then we have the URL and unique equal true. It means every time we put a URL here, it should be unique. It should be no redundant value. So we will check more with this. A relationship is defined using the foreign key that tells Django its choice is related to a single question. So Django supports all the common database relationship, such as many to one, many to many, and one to one. So in this case, it is one to many relationship. The second part, we need to register. This command is to register the respective table into the admin page. So in the admin.py, you can copy this one. So you can see admin.py. We can copy this one. So this is for the admin, and for this admin, I would like to get the models. The models in FAQ, the models in the app or in the directory FAQ, there are two classes. So the class of question and the class of choice. And we want to register it into the admin side. Admin side register question and admin side register choice. So after you finish with that one, now let's create. Since there are some changes on the database, we need to migrate again. So every time you do some changes on Django, just type migrate. So before doing the migration, we need to run the make migrations so it can affect to the database. Now I will use the Python mains.py make migrations FAQ. You can go again to this terminal. Python mains.py. We want to do the make migrations. Make migrations means we need to create the model. So you can see now we have a new model, which is question and choice. If you go to this one, 0001 initial.py, and this is the migration. You already create the question, and you already create the choice. And after you do this make migration, so you already did something with your model, do again the migrate. This migrate will set up all the environment that you have. So whenever you change your model, or if you change your application, or if you change something in the admin, then it will affect to other section. For example, the authentication or the content types, or maybe it affects to the session and etc. That's why this migrate is important comment whenever you do some changes. Now everything is okay. Let's go to the admin page. Let's run. Okay, you can go to this localhost. If everything is okay, you can see this page. Now we are going to look at the admin side. So you can put dash admin. Now we are in the Django administration page. What we can do next is, you already know the name, the username, and the password. Let's input. So I have user, and then IME 203. Okay. Now you enter the administrator. So we get this one because we already registered it. If you don't register, then there will be no choice and no questions. What about groups and users? So it is automatically generated by Django. So if you want to add more users, yeah, you can go to these users. You can see that, okay, now we have one user. This user is the super user. For the groups, because we don't have anything, then it is 0. Now let's try to figure out the data. So until this step, let's make one question and let's make one answer. See, in the FAQ app, you have two tables. The first is choices and the second is question. So let's make a question. The question is, okay, let me just give a question. Where is name? Where is neighbor? And then let the date be today and let the time be now. So the time now is 3:57. So it means the UTC time. You can just say, and then let's make a new data on the choice table. In the choice, you can add, and after you add, the first is, what is the question? There is a drop down here. You can select. Okay, it is based on the question object 1. Because I only have one question, then I can just click this one. And what is the choice text? Okay, please find the URL. Okay, we have, please find the URL. Let's make the fourth as 0 because it is the first time. And then let's give the URL. Okay, maybe I can just type http://www.neighbor.com. Let me save. So now we have two data, one data in the questions and one data in the facts. Now it might be one of the difficult part, this one. I'm not sure with your computer, but in my computer, I already have the SQLite drivers. In your computer, if you are the first time to run this database, there might be some error. Maybe the environment is different with mine. So let's see. Yeah, after you do with the database and everything is fine, you can go to this db.sqlite. Actually, all the data has been saved in this database. Now I want to open it. You can open it based on this database. Can you see? No? On the left, on the right panel, you can see database. So you can click and nothing here. In this case, you can just add this db.sqlite. You can just click and drag and drop here. Okay, one more time. If you already have the db.sqlite tree like this, so you can just click, drag and drop into the database section in your Gmail. Oh, okay. So you can see here, this is the connection to the database. The file is db.sqlite, and this is the URL to connect to the DB. And you can see this one. It is a recommendation, update to driver 3.45.1. Okay, I can do the update. Maybe it takes not, maybe it takes sometimes. If you are the first time, maybe you will have like this one, download missing. Yeah, maybe you will have error missing driver files. So if you have the missing driver files, just click download, and then it will automatically install for you. In my case, I already have the drivers, so I just check the connection, and the connection is succeed. If you download it from the library, from the Django library, if everything is okay, then the connection will be success. If everything already success, you can just click OK. And then you can see now DB is available on the database. You can click again. There are 14 tables. So Django create automatically or the other table like group permission, user group, and so on. And okay, we can see the table name FAQ underbar choice, and then FAQ underbar question. So in this case, you can open it, you can double click on it, and you can see your data. So your data, we have the ID. You know, we don't create any ID, but Django creates it for you. And then the question text is where is neighbor, and then the completion date is this one. If you check the FAQ choice, we have one answer. The choice text is please find the URL, and then the URL is http www.naver.com. Okay. Okay, let me stop here. I want to know whether you success or not.